Hello everybody and welcome to the fourth episode of our Cornerstone URC Advent podcast. My name is Sarah Wilson and I am one of the elders at the Cornerstone, and it's lovely to be speaking to you today, whether you're listening to this on the fourth Sunday of Advent or any time at all. It's getting close to Christmas, it's getting really exciting. I hope you've enjoyed the previous 3 episodes of our podcast. Today I want to speak to you about the best Christmas ever. Now, Ernie and Mags were particularly proud of their house at Christmas time. Before the days of people lighting up their houses and garages and roofs and gardens like Blackpool illuminations, Ernie and Mags were operating at a much lower level. It was a string of fairy lights in the window and a couple of coloured bulbs liberated from the council Christmas tree in the park that created a romantic, soft light effect in the hallway that did the trick. There was one year when Ernie and Mags were struggling even more than usual. Money was tight, and the thing they missed most this particular Christmas was a Christmas tree. "It will not be a proper Christmas without a tree," Ernie moaned one day when he met the local priest outside the post office. Sadly, Father Gallagher wasn't able to help, and he had to say so, leaving Ernie and Mags to a treeless Christmas. Until, that is, Father Gallagher got a phone call from one of the secretaries at the city seminary. The students had gone home for the holidays, and there was a Christmas tree in the foyer which would have to be thrown out unless somebody could take it for a needy family to brighten up their Christmas. Father Gallagher jumped at the offer, and he knew exactly which family was going to benefit from this kind gift. But the trouble was transportation. The community centre minibuses were all booked out, and try as he would, he just couldn't access other transport. Time was against him. The seminary was about to close. Ernie, Mags and the kids weren't going to get their tree after all, unless... "I'll collect it in my car," the resourceful priest pronounced to himself. "So what if it sticks out the window a bit? It isn't a long drive, and I'm sure the local police will turn a blind eye if I'm stopped. And I've got my dog collar on." So that's why Father Michael Gallagher was pondering tree intercar logistics in the quadrangle of the seminary later that day. And the logistics weren't great. For a start, the tree was much bigger than he'd been led to believe. There was nothing else for it. The tree would have to be tied to the roof rack. So that's why the college secretary and a red-faced priest were lugging a monstrosity of a Christmas tree onto the roof rack of a mini traveller when one of Father Gallagher's former theological teachers happened along. "That tree on the roof rack?" he politely inquired. "Needy family," Father Gallagher replied. "And anyway," the secretary chimed in, "we've had the tree sprayed with that stuff that means the needles don't fall off on your carpet. Holds them on like super glue, my mum says." Now, this was either a good sales pitch or was offered with forcefulness in case the local priest changed his mind and decided not to take the tree after all. In any case, the theological academics simply offered a quizzical, which seemed to be the only suitable response at the time. So the theologian goes about his business. A secretary feels good that a family is going to receive a Christmas tree. And a priest, with a large tree now firmly attached to the roof rack of his mini traveller, heads off to brighten the Christmas of Ernie, Mags and the kids. Now, this was when a trusting Father Gallagher began to doubt the sales pitch of the seminary secretary's mum, re the effectiveness of the stuff you spray on to make sure the pine needles don't fall on your carpet. Or maybe it's that the effectiveness is okay if the pine needles aren't subjected to the wind they experienced on top of a car in an increasing winter gale. Either way, he began to realise that even if the pine needles were individually stapled to the branches, there was no way these needles were going to stay in place on the journey home. The car behind him at the traffic lights turning a delicate shade of green gave the game away. And it was the bus following him with its wipers on when it wasn't raining that made him realise he might have a problem. And when he pulled up 10 minutes later in front of Shay, Ernie and Mags, there was not one solitary needle left on the tree. There were deflated balloons, some old tinsel, and one surviving bauble, but no green pine needles. The tree was absolutely bare. But when Ernie and Mags came running out of their stair, they were as excited as little kids at Christmas. "Father," Mags cried, "you've bought a tree! God and the kids will be right chuffed. This will be the best Christmas ever." Pretty soon, Ernie was installing the brown arboreal skeleton in the corner of the front room. It's amazing what you can do with some coloured crepe paper and more balloons and tinsel. And soon enough, the tree was, well, better. Not great, but better. And Ernie, Mags, and 3 fascinated kids had their Christmas tree after all. Early in the new year, Father Gallagher bumped into the erstwhile theological teacher who'd been so sceptical on the day of the tree's collection from the seminary. "How did you get on with that tree you had taken to the parish before Christmas?" he inquired with a wiry grin. Father Gallagher replied, which, he reckoned, was the only suitable response at the time. It's the best Christmas ever when someone gets a gift beyond their wild imaginings and dreams. It's the best Christmas ever when expectations shift and spirit songs have hope among their themes. It's the best Christmas ever. The gift above all else is offered now from love's own treasure store. It's the best Christmas ever as grace comes down for all to fill our homes, to bless our lives once more.